Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Thursday Xfinity Super Speedway Series here on Green White Checkered TV. We have the finale of the regular season on deck for you tonight. 75 laps here at Daytona International Speedway. Apologize, we had some issues with iRacing a couple weeks ago, which pushed us back a little bit, and then I took a little bit of a vacation with the wife, so appreciate that off time from the league. And Gael had a pretty busy week at work himself, so had to push it off another week. And but we're back, we're ready to go, and we are ready to decide who is going to be the top 12 that move on to our playoff grid and who is going to be going home. The cars are qualifying right now, and we'll get you those points a little abbreviated as we got going a little bit late here tonight, but we'll get you those points updated and we'll get you that grid, and we'll get into the race tonight. But before we do anything else, I want to mention my partner, Matt Wagner. He is up here with us in the booth. Matt, what are you looking forward to watching tonight?
Well, actually, I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm trying to pull up these standings. It looks like, as far I'm looking at these standings, Rick is pretty comfortable here tonight. He ain't got to worried about a thing. He holds on my sheet. He's about a 25 point lead. He's sitting at a very very good spot. Some of this goes those outside looking in. You probably see people just a little bit more aggressive trying to get in. I'll be looking forward to that. Like people like Patrick Gruber, if he's in here tonight. Seth Gertler, he is on the outside looking in. Carl Lingle, and even Gabe Butler, he is on the bubble actually, in eighth spot.
I think we're taking 12, but it's definitely a very big battle between everybody from about 8th on back. You can see the rightmost column, that behind next. The only numbers that are in the double digits are the lead that Rick Sanchez has over Eric Laurie, the lead that Dean Wilkinson has over Jeremy Osborne, and then further back through the field, Jasper Riza over Steven Karosek. Everything else is looks like about 7 points or less deciding the next position. So it is going to be an absolute battle there as we look forward to trying to pay attention to those names and get ready for that battle tonight. But we've got cars that are taken to the grid, and again, a little bit of an abbreviated start here after getting a little going a little bit late. But we'll bring up that grid for you now and run through that before we get to tonight's race. So Jack Walls, he's going to grab that pole for tonight in that number 83 driving for Roswell Motorsports. Tom Dixon's going to be to his outside in that number 411 machine, just 23 thousandths of a second slower off the pole pace. Dean Wilkinson is going to start to the inside of row number 2 in that TW Motorsports Ford Mustang. Eric Laurie in his team Bootnaka Esport Chevrolet to his outside. Rick Sanchez in the Chevrolet Chevrolet inside of row number 3 with Ambrose Kniebel of Blind Squirrel Racing to his outside. Row number 4 is going to be Corey Buskirk to the inside of Mike Rimkus in that number 79 machine. Carl Lingle and Jerry Bergeron, they're going to share the 5th starting row in the tail end of the top 10 of our starting positions, while Nick Wing and Frank Ranger Jr. side by side on row number 6. Coming to the second page of the grid here, Jeremy Osborne, last one to take time for tonight. He is going to qualify 13th. And Patrick Groover to his outside in that number 54 Toyota. His brother Seth Groover 1 row and to the inside in that number 32 Gael Brooks. He's going to be racing tonight, not necessarily doing the as much of the in-car um, sim reporting stuff
In
tonight.
race,
Just kind of
in race
back to
reporter.
in
Yeah.
race reporter stuff. Just kind of back to our normal jam here, getting ready to gear up for the playoffs. And obviously, Gael's typically running in this league quite a bit, especially on Thursday nights. So looking forward to seeing him get back behind the wheel as well. And then his dad, Jim Brooks. Jim is looking to uh, make his way into the round of 12 himself. So Bob Fitzgerald there is going to be the outside of Jim on row number 9. And then we got Brandon Briggs for the underdogs chiming in the chat already. He's going to be starting shotgun on the field in the 19th position. So yeah, definitely want to take a second when we have the pace lap to just kind of collect our thoughts here, Matt. And what are the keys you thinking to tonight's race?
My suggestion: stay up front. Probably get some good, clean pit stops here tonight, as you saw in the past couple of races here. Uh, I know a couple of them were caution free. Some of these guys executed on pit road quite nicely and ended up with a win. So on and off cleanly, stay focused, and I guess since we're here at Daytona, I would push 3 wide about too early. But I can't control these guys. They're Boomer. They do what they want.
Yes, indeed. They do what they want, but I think they're going to put on a show for us tonight as we try to settle that playoff field for you tonight here on Green White Checker TV. Well, we've got a pace car coming through turn number 4, about to pull off the banking on the short chute to the tri-oval and get underway for you tonight. So we're looking forward to, again, that 75 lap schedule distance, pitting under green flag conditions around every 20-22 laps or so. And Jack Walls will be the one in control as we get going here tonight for the last race again of the regular season. Here they go. Green flag is in the air. Up through the gears they go. The 83 leading them down into turn number 1 early on. Two by two settling in here is Rick Sanchez actually going to duck down on the bottom and pull out of line and head to the back.
Interesting.
Chevrolet. He's got a bit of a point lead. I think he can afford to.
Yeah, I think you heard me.
Yeah.
You got nothing to worry about.
No, not at all. There's a few others that will, but we'll see how it plays out. Jack Walls there in the 83 is going to look like he's going to have the momentum here to maybe lead this first lap. No, if not, it's going to be the outside lane maybe. Side by side for the line, it looks like it was Jack Walls there to lead the first lap. No bonus points like we have had in the past for the pole or leading a lap. But rest assured, it's still going to be, obviously you can see heading into tonight in the points graphic how much of a battle it was as we see some connection issues there early on for Ambrose Kniebel, and Dean Wilkinson is going to follow the lead of the 5 of Rick Sanchez, and he's going to head to the back of the pack and rejoin right behind Jim Brooks at the tail end of the field. We'll see if we can see the blinking get sorted out for the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel, but we stay 2 by 2 pretty much the whole field through.
Yes, it's really relatively calm and cool and collective, but we say that now, and you never know what's going to happen here. So, yeah, it looks like no connection issues on my end there. Oh, never mind. I jinxed it.
Yeah, hopefully that settles out for him. Obviously having a good showing so far, but if the internet connection issues keep showing their face, he's going to have to probably drop to the back and fortunately have to see if he can manage that. And that's really tough. Yeah, you're going to see he's going to drop down now and get out of the way. But, obviously there's nothing much that he can really do about it. And I'm sure, sometimes that's tough with different internet service providers. You can't really... Oh, there was contact, though, as he rejoined. And it looks like he might have hit Jeremy Osborne.
I think that's a teammate.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yep, contact on the corner, the right front corner of the 41. Ambrose Kniebel is slow and on the apron. Connection bouncing in and out as you see him jumping in and out of the screen there. But yeah, definitely some contact there for the 41, and he gets in the way of the 5 coming into turn number 1 here. So that's going to be a little bit of a hole for those guys that have to dig out of. You see, there's a little bit of contact there on the wrinkled right front panel there for the 41, and it looks like Gael and Dean Wilkinson are going to try and pick up the 5 of Rick Sanchez here. Guy's going to give a good shove to the back of the 5. Not in the middle of the corner because he's smart enough to not do that, but those 3 are going to try and see what they can do to catch back up to the pack. So about 3 seconds now to the back of Seth and Patrick Groover, who have been known to help out and try to drag off the pack a little bit and get everybody back and rejoined. Brandon Briggs is probably the last one that's actually fairly safe off the tail end of this pack, and you actually see that's a bigger gap than I was expecting, but Bob Fitzgerald is about 2 6.4 seconds off the tail end of Brandon Briggs. Patrick Groover and Seth Groover should be able to catch them with the draft fairly quickly. And then Rick Sanchez, Guile Brooks are trying to do what they can in this further back
Yeah.
pack. It's definitely a tough hole to have to dig out of
Hmm.
so early on after the contact from the 04's connection issues and then the teammate Jeremy Osborne. Ooh, Corey Buskirk is just low on the speedway. Never mind. Said he was pitting,
Oh
but
boy,
yep.
no more of that.
He jumped down to the bottom. Looked like to get out of the way potentially, but we got a
Yeah.
little bit of slicing and dicing up here, Matt.
Yeah, the 411 looks like Tom Dixon up there, and 83 at Jack Walls, and the 070 Eric Laurie. Uh, Good to see you, old Tom Dixon there. Take the lead there.
Yeah, had a pretty good starting spot for him tonight, and he's going to continue on there. Obviously, the 83 and the 411 are swapping first and second places right now. As you see, the lap car of Jeremy Osborne and Ambrose Knievel, they're going to settle in back into this pack, but now a lap down, and you see the connection issues further on back continue on. All that damage that you saw on the screen, that was just a connection hiccup for the 04, unfortunately, and even more unfortunately, obviously broke up this pack here early on, but it also affected the teammate of Jeremy Osborne. But it looks like these two packs back here have found their way together. Rick Sanchez and Guile Brooks are going to lead it for now. It's the Gruber brothers in the inside lane. But it's a pack of
Yeah.
6 of them. They should have enough momentum, you'd
Oh
think,
yeah.
to catch up. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, really good lap times last time by. Rick Sanchez with a 46.40 to Tom Dixon's 47.43. So that is quite a bit faster, and actually the fastest lap to Dean Wilkinson of 46.39 that last time by. So that draft is making a big difference for these guys. We'll see how long it takes them to catch up if it's possible for them.
Oh, with that, certain people in that group, those guys should have no problem of catching back up to the group. I'm not even worried. I just, nah, they're pretty quick. Dean Wilkinson and Gael Brooks, yeah, and the Gruber brothers, especially the Gruber brothers. They've been on much of a very good hot streak here lately. They really want to end the regular season on a very, very high note. So, as you would say, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, yeah, they're they are definitely evening out a little bit more now pace-wise. Guile Brooks a 47.08 to Tom Dixon's 47.12, but rest assured they are trying everything they can to get this pack up to the front, which we'll jump back to now is still fairly side by side. Actually, as we say that,
Yeah, they're
pretty
yeah they're two. Mhm.
single file for the most part, top 5 breakaway at least.
Yeah, that time by they were 2/10 faster than the guys running up front. So, I'll probably look here probably in the next 5 to 6 laps them to be maybe 5 6 laps to be catch on to Corey Buskirk in the 998.
Yeah, they're under 3 seconds, and the 100th column is slowly creeping forward. So down to 2.86 seconds right now. So they're definitely getting some momentum and gaining. We'll see what it looks like here as they come across the stripe. And for Tom Dixon, it's a 47.15. For Guile Brooks, it's a 46.76. So there's definitely climbing pretty well.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
whole, we mentioned it before, but when this pack in front of them is too wide, we usually say takes about a 1 second gap to the car in front of you before you can really kind of sniff the tail end of that draft. When that pack is going too wide ahead of you, it's probably closer to 1.5, 2 seconds. So if they can get into that 2 second window, I think they're going to be in a pretty good shape, and they're pretty close to that now.
yeah. If you look at our leaders here, we look at toward our leaders. See, they're pretty minely gapped about each other. They're leaving a lot of space in between. If you go back and look at the other guys, well, you can't really see it now, but they were actually really close to each other and really tightly. Looks like they switched now because they were running really close with each other and really tightly grouped. And that's why those guys were able to. They're catching very, very
Yeah,
quickly here. They're Boomer.
Yeah, they're within a second now, and Guile Brooks actually just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 46.29, so they are well within range of getting caught up, and as you see, they will join the back of this pack here momentarily. So good to see that for them. Obviously, actually, that leaves us with everybody here in this lead pack. There is just one pack on track, including the Lucky Dog battle, which is going to be between Jeremy Osborne and the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel. Ambrose seeming to have a little bit better luck as of late, but we'll have to keep an eye and see if there are any other connection hiccups or issues, as we have one just there, as we say it now for him. So you see the damage. The damage is not actually there. That's just his car, again, having a little bit of a hiccup with the connection. But for now, everybody in this pack, lap number 12 is what we're working on now. The 411 continuing to pace this field from the inside lane. The 83 working on the outside. It's the opposite of the front row from your starting grid, as these two are trying to take control of this race early.
Yeah, look here, look, you're still looking here 2 by 2. I'm just kind of waiting there for file out, single file out. I'm sitting here scratching my head. I forget the fuel numbers here. It's been about a couple of weeks here, Boomer.
Yeah, we've been off quite a bit. I'm guessing somewhere in the 20 to 22 lap range. I know that's what we've kind of seen in the past, but
Yeah.
yeah, that seems like that's pretty standard for the fuel load here. But I know they made adjustments. I know to the truck series not too long ago to try and stretch
Yeah.
that out. But as far as I know, the Xfinity series still running same fuel load. But honestly, one thing I want to look out here for is you see the Gruber brothers. They're now fifth and sixth in the outside lanes, so they're moving up a little
Yeah.
bit there. Whereas obviously Guile Brooks, Dean Wilkinson, Rick Sanchez, Bob Fitzgerald, they're just kind of hanging out at the back of that pack still. So different mindset. Obviously
Dylan.
the 54 and 32 made a lot of work to get back up to that pack, and the rest of them are just, yeah, like you said there, Matt, chilling.
Yep. That's what I'd be doing. You got a long race, man. And like I said before, when these guys get ready for pit stops, it's very, very crucial that these guys nail their pit stop. Oh, and hopefully they don't have their wink, wink, have their four tires selected. Boomer.
Yes, definitely.
Excuse me.
It's easy
I've
to
done
do.
that before.
Yeah.
I've done that before. Trust me. I've done that.
Yeah, it feels pretty side by side, as Frank Ranger Jr. is going to jump to the bottom there.
Yeah, the field is starting to thin out here. I think they must have heard me. These guys are getting ready for a green flag stops here. I think the Cooper brothers are going to hang up to the top and quite possibly try and take that overall lead before we go to green flag pit stops here. That would be my guess.
Yeah, we talk about it so much, but I mean, it is so important. Obviously, this being a super speedway exclusive series, the further up you can be in that track position, I mean, you can look at the numbers. Bob Fitzgerald is 1.8 seconds behind Tom Dixon there. You got to be within about a second of the cars ahead of you when you come off of pit road or have
Right.
someone else. So that 1 second gap, if you can be ahead of that, that might be the difference, especially if you have kind of a poor pit entry or pit exit. We talk about it so much, Matt, but I mean, you highlight it all the time, and it really truly is that critical to have those good pit stops, in laps and out laps.
Yeah, especially when you come on and off pit road. I've highlighted. I think Gaio's highlighted this a lot. Look, speaking of pushing, look up here, Boomer. Look who has taken the lead. The 54 and 32 has pushed Jerry Bergeron all the way to the lead.
That's crazy to see 3 cars get clear at the end of the backstretch. Normally, one is plenty, two is definitely a squeeze, but what a run they had to push Jerry Bergeron and both the Groover brothers all the way through to the lead, and that's pretty much going to stall out the outside lane for the moment, as we are probably within the next 3 laps. I mean, especially because you can see Brandon Briggs is the only one hanging out in the outside lane, trying to find a way down. I think we're going to be seeing pit stops here pretty soon.
Yeah, probably should be here probably in the next maybe about 3 to 4 laps. Did we? I hope so. I hope we got our math right. Well, your math. I went by you.
I'm just going by the history, so I'm guessing, but I'm hoping I guess right, because I mean, I think it's pretty common that we see 21, 22 laps. So yeah, I mean, we could be surprised, but typically that's pretty standard. As you see, Brandon Briggs going to try and get that outside lane going again there, trying to improve his position, a little bit of side draft before he makes his way down to pit road for what should be the first set of green flag pit cycles. Oh, the Brandon Briggs gets a little bit of loose. Oh, another connection issue for Ambrose Knievel. Alongside the 81 of Brandon Briggs. Brandon Briggs gets a little bit of contact seemingly out of nowhere, and more than likely was from the 04 of Ambrose Knievel, who they were riding along side by side with. That is 2 incidents now that have been caused by the connection issue of the 04, and for Brandon Briggs, that is very unfortunate for him. He is going to very slowly get down back to pit road and then hopefully try to rejoin this field. I mean, we're not too far out of the pit window, so that's not crazy, but for him, I mean, the whole field is now almost back onto the backstretch here, and he's going to have a tough time catching back up to this group here.
Uh, that hurts. That really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously, assuming that's almost guaranteed to be the connection issue there, but, I
Yeah,
mean, for Brandon
yeah.
Briggs, that
Mhm.
there's nothing you can do about that, and it's just an unfortunate thing.
Yeah, look, I'm watching on my monitor. He just taking his fast repair. Uh, he's hopefully he can catch the pack here.
Yeah, no.
Never mind. Never mind.
So he'll be at least 2 laps down before they catch back up, or we'll see how this field segments out and after the pit stops. But yeah, pit stop wise, I'm not concerned about him because it's not really off sequence at all, really. But it's definitely, I mean, he's going to be, like I said, 2 laps down before he catches the pack. And it looks like actually Corey Buskirk. No, never mind. Sorry, he entered pit lane, but that was because he ducked down on the apron. He wasn't actually entering pit lane, but it shows it on my screen. So, yeah,
Oh boy, I
no
think
takers that time.
nope, no takers. I'm kind of interested with people. You know what? This may fall in. I'm thinking here. So I'm watching the 81 now. Some of these guys, the guys pit. Um, I know he's a lap down, but when he pit, he'll be the last car on the lead lap. By that I do know, and he'll be able to catch the field at that time. Uh, then at that time he'd be able to stay with their draft. That's going to be very tough for him. Are they going to come this time? No.
Not quite. And I'm just now noticing the mistake of the highlighted drivers. Obviously, Sunday we are well into our um, playoff grid there, and I see the names in green you see are the names that are competing for Sunday night's playoffs. So apologies there. We are actively changing those style guides in the background while I talk and stare at the screen. So I am
Get a
very
lot of people
sorry.
pitting. Yep, here they come.
Here we go. Starting with Jerry Bergeron on back, Tom Dixon, Mike Rimkus, Carl Lingle. Make sure everybody gets down to
Hang
speed.
on to it. There, Tom's got it. So far, pretty smooth there, Boomer.
Not too bad. We'll jump up. Looks like there's a little bit of a 2-car breakaway for Patrick and Seth Groover with all the other cars that came down pit road here, but these guys are going to try and string out a few extra laps here. We'll get the rest of those green names in a second. I can't do cameras and that at the same time, so again, apologies for the amateur hour here from
Oh, you're
myself.
fine.
Yeah.
You're a lot better than I would be. Well, here comes part two. Here comes the rest of the group now. Followed by Seth Gruber, Jack Walls, Nick Wing, the Brooks, Dean Wilkinson,
Ooh, that's a tight
and I
squeeze.
think it's Rick Sanchez there, and also
Yep.
that is an awful, really tight squeeze. But so far, Boomer, the most important thing: no pin penalties from any of these drivers.
Yeah, that's great. So So we'll see where they rejoin. At the front of the field right now on track, it's Tom Dixon, Jerry Bergeron, Eric Laurie. About 1.3 seconds back is Corey Buskirk with no help. Frank Ranger Jr. is 5 seconds back. Then Mike Rimkus and Carl Lingle are 11 seconds off of them, with Bob Fitzgerald as well. So we'll see where the field nets out. You see the 54 and the 32 coming out of pit lane now.
Yes. Yeah. Very organized too. Those brothers
Yeah, those two are
work
very
really.
organized. The group
Yep.
behind them is also very organized with themselves.
Yeah, I think they might get freight trained here.
We will see. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious if they're going to have enough momentum before Tom Dixon is able to catch him. I think it's going to. I honestly think it's going to fizzle out at some point, and I think
Yeah.
Seth and Patrick might be your leaders, but who knows?
Yeah, I was looking to see where the Mike Rimkus and company were. They, because I was looking at my monitor, they did have a slower pit in compared to everybody else. Yeah, I see him. The
Yeah, so they're about
79,
13,
79.
yep,
Yeah,
seconds off the lead now. Yep.
yeah. They had, unfortunately, they had missed their box, along with Bob Fitzgerald and the 30 of Carl Lingo. They all missed their box, and like I said, Boomer, I keep praising every week. Pit stops are very crucial.
Yeah. And it looks like Tom Dixon's going to settle out in 8th for now, but there's still going to be a freight train of the Groover brothers. And we'll see if they can hold on to a side draft long enough, and Rick Sanchez is actually going to jump up there, so they will be towards the front of this pack. And we'll finish those style overrides before we change any more cameras for now, but we'll focus on this pack here for just a minute. Still 2 by 2. Looks like the top 12 have found their way back up into this pack. Mike Grimkus, Carl Engel, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Ranger Jr. about 12 seconds off the pace. Ambrose Kniebel is about 32. And I think Brandon Briggs is up here in this pack, as Jeremy Osborne is now 59 seconds off the pace. So he is about another 15 seconds and 1 extra lap behind our leaders at the moment.
Yep. See. Looks like we've got, as you said, top 12. All in the lead draft. And it looks like the Guru Butters had pretty much taken over.
Rick Sanchez is working with Jack Walls there in the inside lane, but it is the Groover Brothers show in the outside lane for now. Jack Walls still having a pretty solid running tonight.
As I said, for these guys here, Seth and Patrick, they got off to a really bumpy start at the beginning of the season. It looks like they did a little practicing with each other, and sure enough, that practice has paid off. I'm seeing less mistakes on pit road, and the results for them have been showing every week.
Yeah, definitely some decent results for sure. Definitely not a ton of urgency tonight. We've seen a pretty calculated race for the 83 so far. Patrick and Seth obviously had a really good opportunity to get back up, caught up to the pack. Jim and Gael Brooks the same, actually as well as Rick Sanchez, and those are your three of your guys that had fallen off the pace are now in control of this race at the front. But I mean, it's been pretty quiet. Not a lot of urgency. These guys are just trying to have good points tonight. So you see guys like Jim Brooks up in the mix in seventh place. Usually one of the
Yep.
guys that'll typically ride around the back and wait for the end, but he's right up in there, knowing that he needs to have a good night to secure that spot in the playoffs.
Yep.
As of right now, I'm trying to see. Um, trying to find where he
Oh,
is.
oh, points.
Yeah, points wise.
Uh, I can find that for you really
Here,
quick.
yeah, I got him. He's 15th right now. So
Yep.
he's 15th, and he is 6, 9, 12 points out of that final playoff spot, which is held
Yep.
by the '08 of Bob Fitzgerald. So as of right now, definitely looking in good shape. Would need to improve more. And as you see, Bob Fitzgerald actually falling down the leaderboard just a little bit. So Jim's going to need to finish there, and I think a couple spots even better to
Hmm.
pass the '08 of Bob Fitzgerald. Again, being about 12 points behind him.
Hmm.
Actually, no, excuse me. He is 1, 2, 3 spots back, so he's 9 points. So as of right now, 1 point per spot. Jim Brooks actually in a really good position for that, but obviously he still has to beat Tom Dixon and Patrick Groover ahead of him to get into that field of 12. But as of right now, it looks like Ambrose Kniebel could fall out of the top 12 with the connection issues he's had and
Yeah.
being over a lap down. That
Hmm.
is, he's 11th right now by 2 points over Bob Fitzgerald. But I think for sure Patrick, Tom, and Jim and Bob are all going to pass him. So that would promote Bob and Patrick. And I think as of right now, Tom Dixon actually has the points to potentially pass Bob Fitzgerald as well. So obviously, we're not going to calculate that for you live, but that's kind of about where it is, just so you have the idea. But those are the guys around the bubble that are really looking to try and obviously for some salvage what is looking like a night that's not going their way so far, and some that are having a really good night that are trying to capitalize on the good luck so far, good fortune.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been in those kind of situations where is beyond your control. Internet wise or anything like that. Heck, even mechanical failure, a wheel malfunction. That's happened to me before. Uh, Pretty much can cost you points and very valuable points and cost you a championship. And I'm full aware of that. And
Well,
I, I'm a victim of my own success for that. It's a terrible feeling.
yeah, I mean, we even called it on the broadcast last season for, unfortunately for Rick Sanchez, when we did not realize that Gabe Butler had stole the bonus points, all of them, and beat him, I believe, either by 1 point or in a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so close. I mean, obviously, this style, it's only 12 races, and you've only got 8 races to get into the playoffs, and you got only 4 races. We've seen some very heroic charges from some guys that we didn't expect to see. I mean, obviously, Carl Engel had an incredible run well into the playoffs, and until the final race a couple seasons ago I mean, he was coming into the final night one of the guys that was competing for the championship, and that's not to say that he doesn't have that capability, but it was just surprising to see after having a pretty decent season one win. He just had everything clicking right, was in good positions, was making the smart moves, making the smart plays. Just to say that there isn't a lot of time, and it can be anybody's game when it comes to those 4 final races. But again, you got to get there first, and that's what tonight is all about.
Yeah, you got to get there first, and you got to pretty much establish the first good few races. You can have a little bit of mistakes, but after that, you have to be mistake free. Like I keep telling you, clean on a pit road, have very good success, and you got to have some luck too, and you got to have friends here to help. There's a lot of different factors that can get you in the playoffs. Got to make a lot of friends though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we saw on Sunday night. I mean, I can't even remember who it was now, but we had someone get pushed to the win, and like just from sheer wanting to commit to getting that guy a win, and it's really cool to see some of that camaraderie in the series here. Obviously, I think Area 51 is pretty great for those reasons. But it was Andrew Schroeder. Andrew Schroeder had a really good push from Kevin Freese, and
Hmm.
just wanted to get him up there. And or no, I apologize. It was actually Peter DeBorgia that gave him the push.
Hmm.
So yeah, Andrew Schroeder had a race win. I think his first here in Area 51, thanks to the
Yeah.
help from Peter DeBorgia, who stayed committed. So, like you mentioned, Matt, it's all about those friends that you can make, and
Right.
obviously he made one in Peter DeBorgia and was able to get the his first race win at Area 51.
Yeah. Like I said, my teammates are in here. Adam Kilday's not racing tonight, but my teammate Rick Sanchez here, and they both helped me got my first win too, and I'm pretty thankful for that one. It took me, you know, 4 years, but thank you guys.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun moment. Obviously, Guile's still in the house car, but we're kind of laying low on the house car antics that we've had. It's been fun all season, but we're letting these guys get to the end of the season here and get
Right.
into playoff form. So
Hmm.
we'll take a step back from the driver's seat and definitely some strong runs from both you and from Gael as Gael continues to run here in the series. So. Um, he's trying to do what he can to help his dad out as much as he can tonight, and it's gonna be a tight battle for the playoffs, but it's just past halfway here, and probably getting ready in the next couple laps for another set of green flag pit stops.
Yep. It shouldn't be any too long. I've had about 4 to 5 laps here. Uh, Probably see some of these guys. I can imagine. I don't think Brandon Briggs. I'm starting to think about Brandon here. Um, I don't. I think he's going to pit earlier than the rest of them because he's. I know he's stood out. What maybe about 2 laps longer than the rest of them.
Yeah, actually, it was about 4 and
4.
5 compared to
Yeah.
everybody else based on putting on lap 18 versus 22 and 23. So
Yeah. Probably about this time or next time we expect. I guess Brandon to come in, and that's really going to hurt him. Unless a caution does come out, he may lose 2 laps.
yeah, we'll see. He's able to. And he's able to rejoin the field here at least, so he is the first car 1 lap down at the moment. Um, no contention whatsoever for Jeremy Osborne, as he's about 68 seconds off of the lead, about 69 now, and Ambrose Kniebel's almost about 2 laps down now too. So actually, you see him there up in that lead pack, third car in the outside lane, so he's 2 laps down.
Hmm.
So no contention as far as the lucky dog there, but he's gonna really be forced to try and find some help. Um, he's yeah, there's no way he's even in the middle of the pack there. There's no way he's gonna stretch 4 or 5 laps compared to everybody else. So we'll see. I would imagine, based on our previous numbers, that we're going to see 44 to 46 as the magical lap count, but you never know.
I'm actually quite surprised. Brandon's still out there. Maybe my mouth is wrong. Maybe I'm just not thinking neurologically. Maybe this time?
We'll see. I think they'll have a couple more laps here. And we mentioned earlier, Brandon Briggs is in the hunt for the playoffs. He is
Yeah.
pretty well ahead of 12th place with a little bit of a shorter field. I don't think he's got too much to worry about. Um,
Okay, that's what I was kind of worried about
because
myself.
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna have to pass him in points. So hopefully for him can continue on in 17th and do no worse. But I think almost mathematically, can't guarantee it obviously, but just running some quick numbers, I think he's in a decent spot at least.
Okay, I'm getting a light up. Okay, he said he is pitting this time.
There you go.
I was kind of curious if anybody's go with him. Probably not. He's gonna be a lone soldier out there.
He stretched it pretty well, actually, because that is 24 laps from the last time he pit. So,
That's actually pretty good.
yeah, that's pretty impressive. Unfortunately, by himself again, so we'll see. He may lose another lap. Hopefully not, but it's a possibility at this point.
Meanwhile, it's pretty much been the Groover Brothers show up there, and the 5 car Rick Sanchez. Jerry Bergeron is always just kind of hanging up there, just can't really hold and maintain the lead. Um, Now for these guys, probably about you said about by 4 or 5 more laps.
Yeah, 44 to 46, just based on 22 to 23 last time.
Okay.
So Brandon Briggs right now is 35 points ahead of the cut line. So I think that's pretty much. Sorry, no, 28 points. But with
Mm-hmm.
19 cars in the field, I don't think he's got anything to worry about.
Right.
Dean Wilkinson is mathematically safe as well at 27 points. Jeremy Osborne is 15 points to the good right now. Bud Steele 13, Gabe Butler 12, Carl Lengel 12. Gabe Butler not being here tonight will more than likely fall out, depending on where everyone behind him. He's in 8th, 12 points ahead. But Carl Lingel is also 12 points ahead, so he should leapfrog him. Seth Groover is 7 points behind Gabe, and Ambrose is 9 points behind, and then obviously Bob Fitzgerald at the cutoff coming in tonight is 12 points back. So that might be 2 spots that drop out if Ambrose Knievel cannot improve from 19th right now, which again without yellows is going to be a very tall task.
Right.
So we'll see. That could mean right now I think Patrick Groover and Tom Dixon again would be the ones that could benefit from that with the 54 in the front and also on a pit road this time by. Ooh, Corey Buskirk, he's going to lock it up and spin it out.
Oh.
And further on back, actually, Bob Fitzgerald, Mike Rimkus, Carl Lingel, and Frank Ranger Jr. came in all together, so that was that pack.
Oh. Speaking of Jerry Bergeron, he's out of fuel.
Jerry Bergeron runs out of fuel on the backstretch. Tries to stretch it one too many laps. And that is going to hurt his chances for tonight. Jack Walls, though, continuing to lead with Nick Wing. And Brandon Briggs is just going to be caught by these guys here. So he would not get any help from these guys coming to pit this time by. Nick Wing, Jim Brooks, Dean Wilkinson, Kyle Brooks, Eric Laurie, Tom Dixon in this time. And Jerry Bergeron is going to have a very lonely drive back to pit road.
Yeah. So he was stuck on that outside as we saw there for the past couple of laps. These drivers were told to not pit from the second lane. So I did that little, I guess a little bit of talking to kind of hurt him, and he never got to the inside. So yeah, that's really, really going to hurt him. But so far, I'm looking at the Groover brothers.
Ooh, I'm looking at the Brooks father-son duo. 30 seconds
Really?
on pit road.
Oh no!
Penalties. 30 seconds in the pit stall. That means penalties at least for both of them.
That is bad father-son. Oh my goodness.
Right next to each other in pit road. Yep, there they go. 49 seconds each in the pit stall, so that's about 9 seconds of pit stop and 40 seconds of penalties. So that is very unfortunate.
Wow.
Jerry Bergeron is just trying to make it back to pit road. He's so close. Oh my gosh. So you're going to see here Seth Groover and Patrick Groover are going to be joined by Rick Sanchez, and it looks like the 20 and the 83 are going to hold on to this pack. Tom Dixon is too far off, I would think, but he does have 3 cars with him total. Dean Wilkinson and Eric Laurie. They may have enough. They are 1.8 seconds off the back of Jack Walls. That gap is closing, so Dean doing everything he can to get that pack merged up with the lead pack. So that's a possibility there. Corey
Right.
Buskirk, he's got a couple lap cars with Brandon Briggs in the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel, and he is about 12 seconds behind our leaders. 19 seconds back is this pack you saw pitting together: Bob Fitzgerald, Mike Rimkus, Carl Lingle. Frank Ranger Jr. fell off of that pack. And then another 4 seconds back is going to be Jim Brooks and Guy L. Brooks, who should catch Frank Ranger Jr. And then we saw Jeremy Osborne in the mix here as well. And let's see, Jerry Bergeron did get back to his pit stall, but unfortunately he had to take the tow and jump to pit lane. So you hit the escape button when you come to a stop on the racetrack, and it brings you back to your pit stall. But unfortunately, that's going to mean that it takes time. You know, you don't just get to hop back to your pit stop. Pit stall, depending on where you are on the track, it'll take so
Right.
many seconds to get to your pit stall. So he's going to have to sit and wait till that tow, quote unquote, is done. But his night is going to be done, I think, along with it, because he'll be at least 3 laps down, I think, this time by. Groover Brothers continuing to control this race. The 5 of Rick
Yep.
Sanchez
Yep.
in with them.
Yeah, right now, if those guys three up front is pretty much gonna be a long night for everybody else.
We'll see, though.
unless we can see a nice little, maybe a caution or two, get some of these guys caught back up. I would love to see one. I'm not a big fan of uh, creating wrecks or spilling bad juju, but I think if a caution would come out, I think this would be a little bit more, ramp it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there has not been much urgency whatsoever. We do see Jack Wallace, Tom Dixon, Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie in this group. They started first through fourth, each down 4 spots, but still up in the mix. Having good nights for themselves, really, realistically, they've all been having good nights. And obviously the recovery for Seth, Patrick, and Rick here to get back up after falling off the pace from the first incident. No yellow, but first incident that we saw due to some connection issues. So glad
Yeah.
to see them back up and recovered, and really taking over control of this race from about the halfway point on. As lap counter is now counting down instead of counting up. Ambrose Kniebel in the pits this time, coming out for tires and fuel for him. Jerry Bergeron, it looks like, has retired, so that is an extra spot for Ambrose, which helps, but may not help enough, as again he is only 5 points ahead of the cutoff line. Um,
Right.
so it's definitely a tight
It's
battle.
a long road ahead.
Yeah, with where Patrick and Tom are right now, I think they'll have no problems passing Ambrose, and I think they'll have no problems passing Gabe as well. Um,
Right.
uh, let's see. So Bob's gonna need 12 points to pass Gabe, which is possible. Patrick is gonna need 15 points, which is also possible. And then obviously that happens. Then if Gabe falls out by enough, then 2 cars could again leapfrog. Tom Dixon is 18 points back, so that is not possible for him to pass Gabe. So I think, well, I think how it'll fall, it'll be very tight.
Right.
But I think
Okay.
Ambrose will
Yeah.
fall out. I think Tom will take his spot, and I think Patrick would take Gabe's as it stands right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish everything for best for our good friend there.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's yeah. Gabe is gone through a lot this year, and the last year too as well. I do remember. Uh, it's tough, man. But as I said before, real life first, family first,
Yeah, absolutely.
then
Yeah,
right, then racing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, and don't take me being bummed about him potentially falling out for not respecting what he's doing there. Obviously, some issues there. Him and his wife and family come first, and respect the hell out
Oh,
of. Oh,
Jim
we got a
Brooks!
wreck.
Oh,
No yellow, but Jim Brooks. We're gonna rewind that and see what happened there.
oh my. That was almost in front of the field, Boomer.
Looks like it was just a push trying to go. It looked like Jim was already kind of on the apron there, and unfortunately gets a little sideways. It's a bummer. I know.
Oh,
I know Gael's probably going to take that personally because he was pushing his dad there, but they were just trying to do everything they could to get him in a good position for tonight, especially with the penalty, trying to make up as much ground as they could.
something has happened to the 54.
To the 54,
I'm sorry, to 32. I'm sorry. Something has happened. He has dropped all the way to the back.
I saw a blink from the 54 there for a second. I'm not sure if that's anything. Patrick's definitely going to be in need of a decent run. Like I said, I think he's in a good shape right now. He will definitely pass Ambrose Knievel in the points, which would get him in. So, as it sits right now, he only needs 6 points, so 6 positions ahead of the 04, and he has that right now. But on the screen there, I might have saw a bit of a connection hiccup for him. Not sure if that's what it was, and the 32 jumps back along with that or not. But at this point, we're not gonna probably not gonna have the time to rewind that for you. So
Yeah.
apologies for that. It looks like Bob Fitzgerald
Oh
has
no.
had an issue.
Oh no.
See if we can. That one we might be able to rewind back because it was recent. But oh man, it looks like it's a similar story with Mike Rimkus just pushing off the corner and gets a little bit loose. You see the 79
Oh,
sliding there, and then
come on. I love Bob.
that's
Come on.
that's gonna be tough for Bob on the playoff bubble there
Yeah.
himself. That might be enough, but who knows? I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a tough one for him not being able to finish this race. We'll jump back live now.
Yeah, it looks like actually the 54, yeah, the 54 went that got his brother. Now I think they're just gonna hang out toward the end of the back. Nope. As I stand corrected. Oh, it looked like they were gonna go
Moving,
to the second lane and try to start passing
yeah,
everybody.
starting to move up to the front a little bit here.
Yep, here they go. Hmm.
Right back in it.
It didn't take them long. I knew they couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, they're. I mean, obviously they jumped up early on. I think even before the first green flag cycle to do this, take the lead, and they've kind of been up here ever since. Obviously, it was Jack Walls and Tom Dixon that were trading paint, or not paint, but positions, I should say, back and forth at the front of the
Right.
pack. But yeah, you see the 32 and the 54 steaming right back to the front. So plenty of implications. Your 11th place and 12th place coming into tonight are 17th and 18th. It's 1 point per position. So with that, the current running order, Patrick Groover and Tom Dixon would leapfrog them. Now Gabe Butler does have the potential to fall out as well, but it would have to be um, someone further on back to come and steal his spot, which I don't think is mathematically possible. Jim Brooks is 21 points off of Gabe, and obviously had some struggles himself tonight. So we'll have to wait and see. Wish I could try and figure that out a little bit better, and I've got ways of doing that, but not with out prepping ahead of time. So, apologies for that. But trying to at least keep you updated. As it looks like Frank Ranger Jr. is going to step out of line there and clip the grass a little bit and get back in line. Muff Duff saying they just
Oh
felt
no.
back enough to make it fair for everyone else. I think that's yeah, but they did take the
Yeah.
lead right away, so they're still not making it fair for
Yeah.
everyone. But I know he mentioned wait for Gael to mess things up. I know I understand and I know how hard Gael is going to be taking that issue, especially trying to get his dad into the playoffs. So. I'd say maybe try not to give him a hard time because I know he's going to take it very personally, but it's all good, and
Right.
I know he'll
Yeah.
eventually take it in stride.
Yeah. I know. I know. Gallo's is pretty. He's very loyal to his fathers, and he will go back for him. So
Yeah, and I know
that's
he's
just
also the guy
the
that
way he's
takes
gonna be.
things personally,
Yeah.
and he just when he makes a mistake, he owns it and takes it
Yeah.
like it
It's
was his
rough.
fault, and he's just a good guy all around.
Yeah. Just especially against with your dad.
There you go. I like that. Get him a Hallmark apology card. Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah.
did Muff? Did you say that?
He did.
Anyway, can these drivers tape make it to the end? Boomer. Question
Ah,
mark.
man. Yeah, that would be 30 laps would be just probably way too much. I mean,
Insane.
we did see 24 laps, which was fairly impressive from Brandon
Yes.
Briggs, but
Yes.
that's going to be a tall, tall task.
That is a very tall order. And we did see it, I think about 2 weeks ago, we did have a first time winner. Bring that Sensi car, put him up toward the lead, and have him take the checker flag, and uh, that made his night.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely. Yeah, he's
that
not.
was great for him.
He's not here tonight either, but
Yeah,
definitely. And
I kind of miss him.
yeah, I missed. I actually missed that myself. So it's definitely a bummer to miss that. Always love. You and I both always love a first time winner here, but
Yes, I do.
yeah. Got a few in the field still here tonight that could make some noise, make that happen, but
Right.
13 to go.
Let's see.
12 now.
First time winners. Tom Dixon. Let's get one, buddy. I know you can do it.
Yeah, he's having a good night. He needed to come in here strong, and unfortunately for some other competitors who have not had the night they wanted, he's in really
Right.
good shape right now to make that playoff. As long as he continues up in the top
Right.
five like he's been all night long, after grabbing the pole position. Actually, sorry, the outside pole. Jack Walls grabbed the pole for tonight. So, but it's 54 the 5, the 28, the 83 the 411 here, and it's still that 8-car breakaway. Excuse me, Fuyon's in there, and Jeremy Osborne and Frank Ranger Jr. A couple lap cars in this group. We're down to 11 to go now.
Ooh. The question is, Boomer, when are these guys going to pit? Is some of these guys going to break off? Are they all going to pit together? Um,
Yeah, we're pretty close to the window, like to where they have to come, because it's
yeah,
lap 74 right now, and they all pit on 46.
yeah.
Sorry,
Uh,
64 is what I meant to say. 64, but so they're gonna have to
right,
go within the next like 3 to 5 laps or so. So it's not gonna be too long, but it is still a window to play with for sure.
right. Now it's just a waiting game. Who is going to be the first to blink?
Hopefully not literally.
No, well, not literally. And we don't want to wreck.
Yeah.
Eric, we haven't really talked much about Eric Laurie. He's pretty much the only Team Bootnaka guy out there. Uh, him and his teammates have, I guess you would say, took a little break, but we already know what Gabe's situation is. But he's carrying the torch right now. He's sitting there in seventh spot, and he does have a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody in the top 8 pretty much has the opportunity all the way back to Seth Groover, who's just right in the back of this main pack here. So everyone here still has the opportunity. Surprised to see Seth drop back like he did, but he could have been the one that had the connection issue. I'm not honestly not sure, but he did drop back, and he's got so it's a Groover brother sandwich here
Yeah, pretty
in this
much.
lead pack,
And a Frank Ranger.
and then Frank Ranger is the cherry on top.
Oh God.
We got
Oh,
a
here we
few further
go.
on back. Carl Lingle and Mike Rimkus from 10th and 11th are pitting this time together.
Here we go. We got some pit stops.
28,
Here we go.
54 the 5, 32's going all the way down to the
Everybody.
bottom.
Now
Everybody in
who's
the lead pack.
that was really quick on the 54. Did he get nabbed for speeding? No, he did not. He got very lucky there, Boomer. Now these guys got to execute and hit their boxes. They cannot miss a step. I would just do fuel only and just get out of there.
So there was actually a little bit of contact that we saw from Seth Groover on the side, but he took the fast repair, and he is out and away with his
Look
brother.
at Rick. He is gone.
Yeah, Rick got a
What a
really good
stop.
jump. He's going to be out ahead, but we've seen in the past, if you're the one who's out ahead by yourself, sometimes that doesn't bode too well, as the rest of the field is going to have a huge head of steam to get up to them. We'll see who gets organized first, but it looks like most of that pack of 8 is going to be okay. I think all the way back to Eric Laurie, we're going to have this group back together once again, battling it out for the final 8 laps, 7 laps at the line. Eric Laurie within 3/10 of Tom Dixon, who's within 9/10 of Nick Wing. So that should mean
for them, yep. For them to have a shot, Eric is going to have to push Tom Dixon, these guys to either have a shot to win this because
yeah, they've got
those
plenty
laps
of
are
momentum. They're catching
winding
up.
down.
Yeah, they've got plenty
Okay.
of momentum. They're catching there.
Okay. Okay.
So it's still the same 8 after the pit stops. It's a different order. 5, 83, 55, 54, 32, 28, 4, 11, 071. Corey Buskirk has had an incident off screen. You see him slow and on the apron there. But we stay green. Jim and Gael Brooks are pitting this time by. For the 10th and the 11th position. Carl Lingle pitting as well. Carl Lingle with a penalty on pit road this time by.
Yep, I think he got nabbed for speeding on pit exit. That's rough.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one. We'll see. It looks like Jim and Gael Brooks, no penalties this time. They are out and away. Should be able to rejoin in the 12th and 13th positions there, as we are now side by side. 6 laps to go, and going to focus on this pack for the rest of the race, as the 5 and the 83 are still lined up in the inside lane, the 28 and the 411 with the 071 in the outside lane. The Groover brothers there are the only teammate pack that we know of in this group here. Pretty much everybody else by themselves. I believe...
Now this has become interesting. I'm looking at the Groover brothers in the back of the field. I'm looking Rick Sanchez and it looks like Jack Balls on the bottom of the track there. Will we see the 54 and the 32 make a third lane? We probably might see that probably about maybe 2 or 3 to go here. That's their only shot of pretty much them getting the win here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. They're definitely going to Kawabi. Why is my family? Because they sped on pit road, Kawabi. You can yell.
Oh boy!
They sped on pit road, and then Gael decided to turn your dad. So yeah, you're definitely the favorite son today. But 4 laps to go.
Kawabi, you should be out here helping your dad.
All right, time to get serious here for the final end of this race. 4 to go. The 5, the 83, the 55, the '08, and the 41 lap cars in the inside lane, the last two there. As we've got 5 in the outside lane. This group of 8 trying to compete for the win here. The 28 of Nick Wing has the help of Tom Dixon. Jack Walls was your pole sitter. Tom Dixon was the outside pole there in the second lane right now. Eric Laurie in the outside lane. Nobody else really with too much of a teammate advantage
Right.
here. Other than Jack Walls and Nick Wing. They do both run for Roswell Motorsports, but they're not linked up at the moment. And I'm actually looking at it now. It does look like Dean Wilkinson and Tom Dixon are running in a group together, but they're not linked up in the same row either. So it's going to be pretty much down to who can push best. You talked about it earlier on the show. It's wherever you can find your friends and wherever they can come from, but you need them now because it's 3 to go, 2 at the line, and if nothing else, something's going to have to happen, or we're just going to stay side by side, and it's just going to be the 5 and the 28 battling it out. 2 to go.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I'm looking at. I'm watching the 411. See if he can probably push Nick Wing out front. And hopefully, Nick will slap up in. Uh, but right now, it's just kind of actually quite calm up top because they're not really pushing up top.
Yeah,
I'm
Tom.
watching the bottom though. I'm watching the. Well, never mind, Susan. I said that. Here comes the big push.
Yeah, big push from the 411 and the 071, the 54 and the 32, trying to form that third lane. They had a good run, but not as good a run as the 28, 411, and 071 did.
Yeah, right now is we're coming to it. The white flags. Are we going to get there?
White
Yep,
flag is out. They
there
will
it
race all
is.
the way back to the line. The
Now is the
54,
groove. Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, the 54 is trying to see what he can do to make that third lane work, but the 071 continues to block. Not enough room for the 54 and the 32 to get there. It's still the 5 and the 28 side by side coming to the backstretch.
Oh, I think Laurie made the move of the century. That is a fantastic.
Oh, it's going to turn
Oh,
the 28, and that's going to be chaos behind them. The 5 and the 55
uh,
have the momentum. Nobody else is going to be able to make a move. The 54 involved, but he's up to 6th. And that is going to be Rick Sanchez coming home for yet another win this season after the chaos on the backstretch. 071 pulls the block, pulls up ahead of the Gruber brothers. The 28 tries to do the same, and it doesn't quite
yeah,
work out.
that was just a very, very, very late block by that, and you saw the result there. Um, Eric Laurie made a fantastic move there, but it just was not meant to be.
Yeah, he was being aggressive, blocking the Groover brothers, and got it to work, and then went up with them, got around the outside of, I think it was the 411 there, second in line, and then yeah, just kind of hung out there, and unfortunately, as they got closer to the front, Nick Wing trying to take that line away, and didn't quite work out. But you see the 5 on your screen. He is going to do a little bit of celebration here on the front stretch. It'll be a little bit of a minute before we talk to him, but we'll get to those driver interviews first. Want to bring up those race results and talk through those here tonight. As you see, again, winner Rick Sanchez in the number 5 Chevrolet. He is going to be trailed by Dean Wilkinson and Jack Walls in the podium placings. Deserving of an interview for tonight. Seth Groover is going to come home in 4th place. Eric Laurie is going to be in 5th. Pretty good night for Eric there as well. Obviously had the winning move, but had it taken away, and sometimes that happens here in racing. But Patrick Groover is going to finish 6th, and I think with the points he has, he should be in pretty good spot to be in that playoffs there. Can't guarantee that he's locked in, but he's in, like I said, probably a really good spot there. Tom Dixon, I believe, is actually there as well. He came in tonight 9 points behind Ambrose Kniebel, and finished 10 spots ahead of Ambrose, and then finished ahead of Bob Fitzgerald as well. So I believe, I'm not going to quote it because I was wrong last time, but I believe that means that Patrick and uh, yeah, Patrick and Tom have made their way into the playoffs. As far as where everything else falls, I'm not going to bother about that, and we'll figure that out for next week. But behind Tom Dixon is going to be Nick Wing in that lead pack, but he's going to come home eighth there. Mike Rimkus is the last car one lap down. First car one lap down is Corey Buskirk, followed by Frank Ranger Jr., and then obviously Jim and Gael Brooks. We saw the pit road speeding penalties for them coming home in 12th and 13th. I mean, obviously you see the tail of from 10th on back, all being a couple laps down, 1 to 2 to 3 or more. That's the tail of green flag racing. Didn't have a single caution on it. Had a few incidents, quite a few incidents, 4 or 5 honestly that I can think of, but didn't have any yellows. And unfortunately, Brandon Briggs was one of them. He's going to have to come home in the 14th position. Should be solidly in the playoffs for him, though, already. So not much to worry about for that 81. Jeremy Osborne there in the 15 was part of the first incident with teammate Ambrose Kniebel. Them and they're going to be blind squirrel racing 3 in a row with Jeremy Osborne, Carl Engel, and Ambrose there in the 15th through 17th positions. Then we saw Bob Fitzgerald unfortunately just getting a push there from Mike Rimkus that didn't go well, and unfortunately that ended Bob's night and probably his chances at the playoffs here this season. So we got one more. Obviously, Jerry Bergeron ran out of fuel and then retired it for the night. So that is your race results. And let's get into some driver interviews here. We've got our first one is going to be with pole sitter Jack Walls. So we'll see if we can grab Jack here. I don't see him in the Discord yet.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't see him. I've been
yep.
trying to flag him down,
Okay, cool.
but
Well, you continue to try and see if you can grab him, sending him messages and whatnot. We'll bring up the second place finisher for now, and we will talk to the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. Dean, definitely a really clean race for just about everybody. Green flag all the way through, and we saw you battling it out in a pretty good position, staying with that lead pack all night long. Take us through what it took to get you to that second place finish tonight.
Spatial awareness. I figured something was going to happen. The Groovers are getting antsy. They don't like being in the back. So, yeah. And lucky. I was lucky to avoid that last lap wreck.
Yeah, that was definitely. We've seen a little bit of blocking there in the high side. Were you expecting to get all the way back around to the start finish line, or were you kind of you mentioned that chaos was starting to ramp up? Were you expecting that to something like that to happen?
But yeah, I don't know if you noticed, I was laying back off Jack because I thought, okay, well, the Groovers are going to go to the third lane. I was going to try to get behind them and see if I can get up there with them, but there's just no time. And then once Eric went up there, and the middle line was a little. I was concerned, and rightfully so, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a little bit of chaos there at the end. Obviously, the Gruber brothers trying to make a move and made a good move on the outside. Picked up Eric Laurie, and then on the backstretch there, a little bit of that chaos that we talked about. But yeah, I mean, obviously this group of 8, had very solid run all night long. I think were you part of the group that had to drop back at the beginning that came back up with the Gruber brothers in the 5?
Yeah,
Yep, yeah.
yeah,
So I
yeah. I
mean,
was pushing
you were pushing Gael, I think, at one
a
point,
guy. Oh,
right?
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So definitely, I mean, for the way tonight ended, no yellow flags. That's got to be a good feeling to be able to recover from that early on.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's unfortunate for those drivers that got wrecked out without the flag because, and that last lap, it like I enjoy more finishing with 3 wide, 5 deep. That's just more exciting than finishing under that kind of wreck.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
overall, it was a fun race.
Yeah, it looked like it was. I mean, a lot of pretty good hard racing. I mean, we didn't. We mentioned it multiple times throughout the broadcast. There really didn't seem like there was any sense of urgency from anybody almost until the final after that final green flag pit cycle there.
Yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, a lot of single file. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, congratulations for TW Motorsports and that second place finish that you got here tonight. Want to roll out that red carpet for anyone you'd like to thank or shout out for that second place finish tonight.
Well, I was running with a few guys, Tom and Bob, and I think Mike Remkus was in there. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Always enjoy going back to watch that. I always like to thank the drivers because again, without other drivers, we just don't have good racing. So thank you to all the other drivers. And yeah, Green White Checker TV, Area 51. Thank you.
Absolutely, Dean. Well, realizing before we let you go, I got to ask you one more question. You're coming into tonight, and leaving tonight actually, tied for third in the regular season standings here. So you got 204 points, about 41 points off of Rick Sanchez. You got Nick Wing tied for you in third there. Solid performance through the regular season. As you gear up for the playoffs here in the next 4 weeks, what are the biggest things that you're going to be trying to focus on in order to try and bring that championship home?
Finish the race. Finish the race. I mean, points don't matter, right? So yeah, I mean, there's no bonus points. So just being there at the end. And if you're not there at the end, can't win. So try to get there to the end.
Simple enough. Well, we'll be pulling for you and all the other drivers as we make our way into the playoffs in the next 4 weeks. Good luck to you and hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Boomer. Thanks, Matt.
Alrighty, thank you as well, Dean. So we are still trying to find our next interviewee, and don't know. Oh, we jumped to the wrong chat there. Sorry for saying there, but appreciate that from Dean. Now we're still Matt. Any word from the 83 machine? Uh-oh, does Matt have a copy? Maybe, maybe not. Alright, well, with that, we are then, I think, going to bring up our race winner of Rick Sanchez as we bring him up into the broadcast booth. Rick, definitely an interesting finish after a very, very green flag race. Take us through everything. I mean, obviously, so we saw you guys at the beginning kind of get stuck, a couple seconds off and had to charge back up to the pack. But after that, you guys kind of, for the most part, were able to stay there and kind of control the race. But from your own words, what did it look like from behind the driver's wheel?
Yeah, we had a little check up there, and but it wasn't enough to bring out a yellow. But luckily, there was enough of us to get caught back up, and then just had good pit stops that kept me up there. And I was hanging on to the back of the Gruber boys there, and I was going to follow them in, and then they got kind of separated, and then back together again, and then I think they got split up again, and I came out and I was like, oh no, I'm way out here by myself. And I kind of checked up going out,
Oh,
trying
really?
to get Jack to catch back up to me. Yeah, I would have been way out there by myself. But yeah, and luckily once they got to me, he stayed behind me then. And then, yeah, I was really looking forward to a green flag stop there, even if the outside lane got me, because that was such a good run and a good race, green all the way like that. And yeah, it was a fun race. Kind of fell in my lap when everybody disappeared behind me, though.
Yeah, I know. Actually, you had mentioned that on the final green flag pit out there. A lot of times when you get out that far ahead, you can get swallowed up by the field. But obviously, you were thinking about that before I was. So definitely a good opportunity to get to the front. And were you nervous about the charge from the Groover brothers? Obviously, at that point, they'd picked up the 071 of Eric Laurie in that third lane. Were you nervous about that, or were you pretty confident with the push that you had from Jack Walls that you thought that you could make it all the way back as a winner?
Well, I didn't, I don't mind if they go to the outside and they get a run and they win. That's fine. It's the way it's supposed to be. So no, I just try to stay as still as possible to give Jack a solid bumper to hit, and push. And like I said, I was kind of looking forward to it ending that way, 3 wide at the checker. That'd have been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Still had some pretty solid racing there in the middle. I mean, you kind of mentioned it already, but it seemed like for the most part, obviously that group of 8 that you guys were with at the end there, I mean, no one really had any, major mistakes or issues. I mean, we've seen in the past where it's a smaller group at the end towards the front, but I mean, a pack of 8 for being green flag the whole time. That's I'd say that's fairly impressive for super speedway racing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't see what got like Gael and him down a lap. I don't know if it was a
Speeding
speeding. Is that what it
penalties.
was?
Yeah, for both. Unfortunately, for both of them at the same time.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I know how that is. I've been there though. It'll jump up and bite you every once in a while, especially when you're pushing hard.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
But
yeah.
yeah, with the announcers, I was looking forward to pushing on Gael too, if I get a chance. But he didn't. He didn't end up there this time, but hopefully next time.
Yeah, and I know we kind of mentioned at the top of the show, not that we're rolling back the announcer participation, but obviously Gail's just kind of going back into his normal role as participating in the league. Obviously, he'll still be running the broadcast car, but not going to be doing as much in race reporting as you guys kind of get back to the regular schedule of the playoff season here. So you guys can kind of settle in and try to compete for that championship. And obviously, the regular season champion here. I believe that's now 2 wins for you on the season, and you gotta feel. I'm assuming you gotta be feeling pretty good about heading into the playoffs here. I know you're kind of in the same position last season where I think then you'd had I think what 4 or 5 wins at this point at the regular season end. But take us through how this season has felt different from last, and how if you feel like your chances are better or worse for the championship this time.
Probably the same. I mean, you gotta fight all the way through. Every position counts. Every point you can get. Um, these guys ain't giving up, so I can't, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know we asked Dean because obviously he was third in the regular season, so pretty strong regular season for him as well. But we asked him what he thought it was going to take, and he just said finish the race. That's pretty much
Yeah.
pretty simple.
Finish
But
his top fives, as many top fives as you can, and finish.
yeah. I do have to ask because I know we had mentioned on the broadcast that for this season there's no bonus points like there were last season, and obviously Gabe pretty much bonus pointed you to death in that final race, and that was a difference in the championship. Are you looking forward to the lack of bonus points this season and the change from the way the points are structured from last season?
No, honestly, the bonus points, to me, they didn't make a difference. What made a difference was one bad race. If I'd had one good race where I finished 10 spots ahead of where I did, Gabe's bonus points wouldn't have made a difference. So it's all about the finishes and consistency as far as I'm concerned.
Well, fair enough. So maybe that means that this point system could suit you better. But yeah, looking forward to you and Dean and the rest of the gang battling it out for that championship. But before we let you go, I want to give you one final chance for shoutouts or thank yous for that win here tonight.
Shout out to Area 51, great league. Shout out to Green White Checkered, always putting on a good show for us. Shout out to 4D Racewear supporting us. Whiplash Sim Cams, loving those. Shout out to family for supporting me all the time. And shout out to the other drivers.
And Sensi.
And Cincy. I keep forgetting them guys. I'm sorry,
No worries.
Cincy.
Yeah, I feel bad.
I got you, mate.
We got caught up in the green flag action and didn't even do a side by side. So who knows? Maybe we'll do that before we leave. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no. Appreciate it, Rick, and hope to talk to you again very soon.
All right, guys. Thanks a bunch.
See you, teammate.
Thanks, Bodie.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna have in a second here, maybe a crude, but a playoff graphic nonetheless, as we've got updated points that we'll bring up here just a second.
I'm quite interested too. My connection keeps fluctuating
Yeah.
over here. I'm having bad storms, so
Oh
my
man.
apologies on my end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. So it's interesting to note. So I was correct on some of the things I presumed, but we will bring the graphic up now. We'll keep the cars in the background, like the vibe, watching race cars go around the track. So we'll keep that in the background, but in the foreground it will be the points as we'll try and get that transformed and centered to the screen there for you. But all right, so these obviously just the names, but these drivers will be the ones that will have their points reset to I think it's like 2 bajillion points or something like that. But
2000.
all right, so we were correct, or I was correct in Patrick Groover and Tom Dixon making it into the playoffs. So Bud Steele and Gabe Butler obviously not able to join tonight. That was the difference for them. Both of them dropped out. Patrick Groover and Tom Dixon did pass Ambrose Kniebel and Bob Fitzgerald, but thankfully for Ambrose and Bob, with Bud and Gabe dropping out as well, that was enough for them to get in. So we were right, and we weren't sure how the rest would fall, but there it is. So Rick Sanchez, he is going to be your regular season champion with 245 points. Eric Laurie, 212. Dean Wilkinson and Nicholas Wing, 204. You see tied for third there. Brandon Briggs was plenty safe there. 193 points to his name on the season. Seth Groover, 180. Jeremy Osborne, 179. Carl Lingo, 175. Patrick Groover, 170. Tom Dixon, 166. Ambrose had 165. Bob Fitzgerald had 161. Jim Brooks had 158 points and was the first car out of the transfer for the playoffs, and could be very realistic that that was the difference between the speeding penalty and not. So unfortunately for him, he'll be the first car out by 3 points. So sometimes they don't go your way, and unfortunately, with the fact that we had a fairly clean and green flag race, we did have a lot of incidents, and I did keep
Yeah.
mentioning that. Plenty of
Yeah.
incidents, but no yellows, and that makes it really tough to recover from any mistake whatsoever there, Matt.
Yeah. I hate to say like a like a repeater. Keep repeating myself, but I say it time and time again. Mistakes on pit road, they will cost you races and they will cost you championship points. As we saw here, that little incident on the track with Jim Brooks there, and the speeding penalty that ultimately did cost him a playoff spot. So that's pretty unfortunate, but mistakes are made. We all do learn from them, and hopefully he'll come back better next season, and hopefully get a couple of wins, and kind of brighten things up a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him in victory lane, but yeah, definitely unfortunate to see him and Gael get the penalties. But like you said, sometimes it is what it is, and I mean the Dean and Rick both said when I asked them what it's going to take to try and win this championship. I mean they were both very adamant that being there at the finish was what it's going to take, and obviously that comes without a lot of mistakes. So see how this plays out over the next 4 weeks. Obviously, we've got again schedules pushed back just a little bit here, but we'll be doing Talladega next week, iRacing Super Speedway, then Atlanta and Daytona, and that will finish out season 2 of 2024 here on Thursday night. Sunday night has already started their playoff run, so they're going to do iRacing Super Speedway next week, then Atlanta, then Daytona. So they've got 3 weeks left in their schedule. But I want to know, Matt, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Of the 12 names you see on the screen, who are you looking forward to most to watch in these playoffs here?
You know what? I don't. Well, of course, I got my teammate here. You got Rick Sanchez here. My the guy who got really unlucky last season. He had about what you said, 5 wins, and that I'll be interested to see how it does here. But the guy, if I would pick an underdog there, Boomer, I would go with Brandon Briggs.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like that.
uh, I really think if he would, um, the unfortunate mistakes, tonight was pretty much a netcode deal. I really feel bad for him on that one. But if I hate to call Brandon an underdog, but he does have a win to
I
his
mean,
credit for Air 51,
their
but not this season though.
their team name is literally the
The
Underdogs. So
underdogs. So
yeah,
literally, I really think he has the tools to pull it off, but the matter of executing that uh, is yet to be seen. But
yeah.
we will. Actually, I'll put a nice little motivation speech in there for him. Hopefully, he listens to this, and I got confidence in you. You got two. Those characters are going to be tough. Um, and there's a lot of different names on these lists. Like I said, Tom Dixon, he was up there uh toward the end of the race. You just need to get a little motivation in some of these guys, and I really think these guys can pull it off.
Yeah, like I said, always we'll wait and
Rick,
see.
yeah,
I'm excited for this. I think this is a pretty solid field. I mean, obviously, Patrick and Tom went way above and beyond what they needed to do tonight to make sure that they were in the playoff hunt there. And I mean, they did exactly what Rick and Dean said, and that was finish. And obviously, really no fault of their own. Caught up in some issues in the final lap, but still coming home in the top eight after executing all race long. And that's you see that there. They jumped 4 spots to get solidly into the playoffs here. Obviously, we're going to see a potentially a good playoff run for both of the Groover brothers here. We mentioned Carl Engel. He got very, very hot a couple seasons ago and had a really, really strong run. And came very close to. I mean, I think he finished second or third in the championship standings. So even from eighth there, obviously all these points are going to reset, so it's not going to matter the positions, but these show the regular season finishes there. But it's not to believe that any of these guys could try and have 4 really good races. Obviously, the caveat will be Ambrose if he can hopefully get his internet connection fixed. I know we've seen him up at the front. They're probably the biggest depth of team right now could be Blind Squirrel Racing. I know a lot of guys in here are running together. Obviously, Dean had said that they were running with Tom Dixon and some of the other Team Extreme guys. So it's a lot of smaller teams are combining right now, but the Blind Squirrel Racing guys are have been a team all season long, and they've got still really good numbers. Obviously, Jeremy Osborne, Carl Lingle, Ambrose Kniebel all in the playoffs there. That makes a huge difference when you can be in the playoffs with people that you run regularly with, are used to strategizing with, and are looking forward to trying to capitalize and work together. So we've seen other teams in the past do really good jobs of that capitalization and that teamwork that makes the dream work, and just wait and see. So, but yeah, I think that's enough rambling for us tonight. Um, we will be back every single week until the season finish in 4 weeks. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys here next week and every week thereafter until we crown a champion on Thursday night. Again, same thing on Sundays. And then I actually got to pull up the schedule for Tuesdays to remind myself where we're at there. But I think we pushed that one back a week. So I think we still have Texas, Kentucky, and Auto Club still remaining, if I'm not mistaken, Matt.
Let me see. As far as Indy side, you are correct.
Okay, yeah. So we did push that one back a week as well here. So, well, with that, again, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, all your Area 51 and Green White Checkered TV fun and action. Appreciate Guy Brooks. Obviously, he's just kind of stepping back into his normal role of being a driver, but who knows, might see him here on the broadcasts on Thursday nights a little bit, and obviously you'll see him running the shows on Tuesdays and on Sundays as well. So appreciate him. Glad we can give him the night off so he can just focus on running, and appreciate everybody here at Area 51 and Green White Checker TV. So for myself, Boomer Logan, for my colleague Matt Wagner, we wish you all a very happy, very safe week, and we'll see you next time.